Alrighty. So our mission, as a reminder, to those new and old, is to help women and non-binary adults seeking economic empowerment overcome barriers into tech industry. Okay. Our code of conduct, just as some housekeeping. We are dedicated to provide a safe, inclusive, welcoming, and harassment-free space and experience for all members and guests, regardless of gender identity and expression, sexual orientation, disability, physical appearance, socioeconomic status, body size, ethnicity, nationality, level of experience, age, or religion, or lack thereof. Our code of conduct exists because of that dedication. We do not tolerate harassment in any form, and we prioritize marginalized people's safety over privileged people's comfort. Our full code of conduct can be found at techtonica.org/conduct. Alrighty, first things first. Let's make sure that we are using our Zoom etiquette. Please edit your Zoom name to include your pronouns. So if you are on this call, you already got the digital literacy of understanding how to get on the call with us. In your Zoom square, if you hover yourself, there's 3 little dots. Okay, use that to edit your name, rename yourself. I want to see your pronouns so that we can honor how to address you. Please keep your mics on mute while others are speaking. Turn your cameras on. I want to see your faces. Okay. I want to see who is here. Who are we talking to? And then I also want to see y'all throw down. I already gave you a little warm up in the chat. I want to see why you are interested in software engineering and Techtonica specifically. Okay. Throw that into the chat for us. We are recording. Later, we will also do a group screenshot. Yes, there will be pictures, y'all. I want to commemorate everyone on this call, so we're gonna snap a little screenshot towards the end. All of the information on this call is subject to change. So if you haven't already plugged in with Techtonica in some way, shape, or form, please make sure you do that so that you can get the updates, okay? This info session is recorded and it will be shared on YouTube. Alrighty. Who the heck is talking at you? Me. I am talking at you. I am Daima. My pronouns are she, her. I am the software training engineering manager at Techtonica. I journeyed across the Techtonica ecosystem. I used to be a participant, an alumni board member, a mentor program manager, and now I'm the STEM. I'm the person that everyone's going to be working with in the program each day. I worked at SurveyMonkey, Hack the Hood. I've volunteered with Code Tenderloin. I've led coding fundamental courses in my hometown. I'm just really glad to bring all of this back together because I come from a nonprofits route and it is helping me to join my technical skills together. I'm also a mom of 3. Um, I count my big brother, who is now an adult. He was not an adult before. But I also have 2 giant fur babies that you will hear me talk about a lot if you are in the program or otherwise mingling with me. And I'm a Bay Area native, but I now reside outside of Bay Area. Alrighty, Michelle, over to you.
Hi everyone, I am Michelle Glauser. My pronouns are she, her. I am the founder and CEO of Techtonica. So I'm really excited to have you here tonight, and I hope we will get some of your questions answered about our new program. Thanks for joining us.
All righty, a little note about questions. We want to make sure that you come into this application process really understanding the program fully, to make sure that you know what you're signing up on for. And so at the end of the presentation, we'll have a time for questions. We'll answer any clarifying questions that you have about the content here from this presentation or clarification of what's on the website. But we want to respect everybody's time. So if there is anything that is on the website, I will be directing you that way. Okay. So any questions that are also specific to you as an individual, please reach out to us via email if necessary, because I won't answer individual scenario questions on this call. Alrighty. Our target audience. We are seeking to bridge the gap by targeting Black, Latinx, Indigenous women, and non-binary adults. No, there's not an age cutoff. We are seeking to empower all these people because they're the most endangered displacement and the most underrepresented in tech. You must also, in order to participate in this program, be willing to relocate for an in-person placement if required by a placement company, if we have placements. Placements we are currently targeting for summer 2026 are located in California locations such as Los Angeles, San Diego, and San Francisco Bay Area. All right, so what the heck are we talking about today? We have pivoted a little bit. We have a part-time program. Woo! A part-time program rather than our full-time. And so Techtonica genuinely provides an intensive and expensive personalized learning experience in our programming for our active learners, in contrast to the passive classroom learning experiences and expensive coding boot camps that you might see elsewhere. So our part-time program was devised to allow our participants to continue to work during the day, or continue their responsibilities in the way that fits them, thus easing the financial risks that participants typically would go through when quitting their job in order to do the full-time program. We recognize that it's a tough job market right now for especially junior engineers, and so we are just trying to make that burden a bit easier. Both part of the program that you see here on the screen will take place Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Pacific time. So that's about 20 hours a week. And it includes some weekend hackathons that you will be notified of if and when accepted to the program. So we have a part one portion that you see here on the left side that's called Web Dev Foundations, and it consists of 4 weeks of pre-work that is going to also be followed by 10 weeks of group learning about web development fundamentals. All the fundamentals that are pretty crucial and important for setting the stone for a tech career. Our part two will be welcome to all of our participants that perform the best during part one, and they'll be invited to apply for our part two software's application. And that's 26 weeks of more advanced project-based personalized learning. So you're doing some real accelerated building, all full stack. So part two also has individual mentors. It is a tuition with needs-based sliding scale, subsidized tuition and stipend scholarship model. More on that to come once you're down that road, and is also followed by potential job placements, or if there are no job placements, a job search support. We know that tuitions, stipends, potential placements are a big differentiator, excuse me. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit more in depth. Before we get into that, however, let's give you a quick overview. So what do you gotta do to get to the end, right? To get to the end or even to the beginning of either of these programs. So first, everyone needs to log into FreeCodeCamp and expand the Legacy 113 Legacy JavaScript course. Okay, that's linked on the website. You could also just search FreeCodeCamp Legacy JavaScript course. You'll need to go to that page, complete all of those lessons, and take a full page screenshot. Okay, so not broken up. I'll show you the screenshot and what that looks like in a moment. But this should take about 4 to 12 hours. So set aside the time now, y'all. Set it aside. Set it aside. Don't wait. Okay. Be ready to upload the screenshot of the complete course checklist in the application form. I'll show you what we are looking for in a moment. Then you will thoroughly fill out and submit both of the short form applications. There are 2 applications. If you have already completed the short form, then you should have seen a page after where it was like, yay, now you get to fill this out. So go find that in your email. Okay. You got to fill out the 2 forms, okay? Short form and the long form. This is different than the interest form that is linked on our webpage, normally when we don't have an open cohort, okay? The long form, you will know if it's the long form. It's very long. Set aside some time for that too. Okay. It will take some time. Do not wait until the last minute to fill it out. We do have some limited laptops that are available to rent for the program. We'll reach out to specific people that indicate that they would like that service or resource to them, so that we can make arrangements to get that to you ahead of time. We will go over specific dates in a moment. I know some of y'all are on edge. I just want to know how to plug into the calendar. We'll go over that in a moment. But there are 3 study sessions a week, 2 of which total out of all of the pre-work study sessions are mandatory. So you got to go to 2 study sessions. You got to. Okay. Even if we send you an acceptance conditionally and we're like, hey, cool, we'll see you on day 1. Assuming you have gone to your 2 mandatory pre-work study sessions. If for some reason you missed that, we will reach out and let you know your next steps. But we will talk about what that timeline is for those pre-work study sessions. That will take place for about 4 weeks. So 3 study sessions a week for 4 weeks ahead of day 1. That's getting into the nitty-gritty ahead of your actual cohort start date. Over the course of part 1, Web Devs Foundation, everybody in the program will go through pair programming, code challenges, and build their programmatic interviewing skills. Everybody in the Foundations program will go through assessments of their technical and non-technical core competency skills to ensure that they have the foundation grasp of our curriculum. We want to make sure that those concepts are really hitting home with y'all. So during the final 2 weeks of the foundation programs, those that are interested in part 2 will express interest to us, and then we will go through some board and staff interviews with them, just like the previous application process, if you're familiar. But the final 2 weeks of part 1, Web Devs Foundation, is when you will have those interviews with board and staff, and then some financial aid conversations if that's something that you would like to apply for. In the part 2 portion of this program, we're calling it software applications. We will accept 10 to 15 participants from those who have successfully completed part 1. We will begin in January of 2026. And upon successful completion of part 2, some applications could potentially be placed with a sponsor placement, but placements are not guaranteed. Alrighty. This is the screenshot image that you have been waiting for, okay? Make sure it is the legacy lesson. Make sure, okay? The 113 legacy lesson. Please, 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 I can't stress this enough. Don't start this late, y'all. Get into it, okay? It will take some time. You can use BlipShot Chrome extension to take the screenshot if you want. BlipShot Chrome extension. Alrighty. You can use the study groups to continue your learning. So like, let's say you're like, oh, I haven't grasped this concept. The study groups that you get after being accepted into the program or conditionally ahead of day 1, we will reinforce some of the concepts that this starter course will get you into, okay? Michelle will paste into the chat the link to that course. Thank you, Michelle. Alrighty, for the dates that you have been waiting for. So the applications are open. If you're here, yes, they are open. The short form is linked on the website. They are due September 10th. Okay, September 10th at 12 p.m. Pacific time. All of these times that I'm going to reference are in Pacific. Then there will be some acceptance notifications starting to go out the following day. Okay, that will span no longer than 2 days. We will let everyone know at every stage if you are accepted or if you need to continue on with your learning journey and come back to us later. Agreements. If you are accepted, extended an offer to come into Web Dev Part 1, You will get an agreement and it will need to be turned in by September 12th. Okay, jot that down. Jot those two dates down. September 11th, September 12th. Jot it down. Um, then after that agreement, the following week, immediately that Monday is when all of our pre-work study groups will begin. And so each of our pre-work study sessions will be held Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays from September 15th to October 10th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. After you receive that invitation to part one of this program, you are required to attend two of those. Two of those sessions are mandatory. Should you go to more? Of course, totally. If you can't because you can't get a sitter or you got work that day or you're checking through the appellations, I don't know. It's okay. But I highly encourage you to come to as many as you can. Our Web Dev Foundation will be from October 14th through December 19th. There will be one weekend hackathon during that program. Our software engineering program, January 5th to June 26th, again, for those who are extended an invitation, we'll have 3 weekend hackathons. We will provide the weekend hackathon dates once you receive that acceptance notification. This program is completely virtual, as a reminder for everybody on the call. So you will be expected when you are on a call with myself or your cohort mates to have your cameras on unless you have some sort of accommodation. So be ready to collaborate and be present. This is not a passive experience, y'all. But I'll help you out though. We'll get into it together once you're in the program. Alrighty. These are the important dates. It will be on YouTube, screenshot it, whatever's your fancy. Now, I'm clicking through what you should understand for after acceptance. So once part one of Web Dev Foundation is happening, you'll be able to submit your agreement, of course. You'll submit MacBook paperwork if you need to borrow one or rent one. And then on day one, we'll be getting to know one another. We'll be taking some group photos. It will be very exciting. And we'll be learning all the things. However, for part two, our software applications program, there will be another agreement for that portion of the program. So about 10 weeks after day one of web dev, if you decide to say, yeah, I want to go all in, I want to build all the things, I want to do accelerated full stack projects, yeah, there will be another agreement, and then some stipend paperwork, and then there will also be onboarding with your mentor and mentee, and then also more group pictures, because we love group pictures, if you didn't catch that in the beginning of this call. Alrighty, so what the heck are we looking to work on with y'all as participants, or prospective participants rather? We are selecting people that show these specific characteristics consistently. Okay, keyword there. We believe these traits will take our participants really far in whatever technical role that they decide to go in. And they actually lead to our hiring partners being really, really, really pleased with the decisions and the support and the quality, the caliber of software engineers that y'all come in there being. And so let's talk about what this means. Vulnerability and resilience. We know this is kind of big and scary and new. It's a whole new thing, right? This program, getting into software engineering for some of y'all. It is important to become comfortable with being uncomfortable. It is so important. Y'all gonna hear me say that a lot during the program, okay? Sometimes you get all these errors and you're like, red, yellow. It is okay. Sometimes having uncomfortable conversations about people having different strategies. That's a part of the process. Autonomy. This is a semi-self-guided program. You're given a list of tasks to complete every day. We expect you to have the autonomy to do those things without us asking you to do them. Autonomy does not mean do whatever you want. It means do what is expected for the day without someone reminding you. Coachability. You're going to be asked lots, lots of time to give feedback during the program. Okay. Being able to take your own feedback and provide it and implement it in a way that is professional is very much a cornerstone of success in this program. Positivity and adaptability. This program and its learning environment is very different than anything that you may have experienced before. So it's really important that you take each day with a positive growth mindset. And trust me, some days it will be harder to have that growth mindset, and you can just tap all your cohort mates on the virtual shoulder, or even me if you need somebody to coach you up and give you a pep talk. But growth mindset will get you all the way to graduation and beyond. Growth mindset is saying, I don't know this yet, but I'm gonna be excited to give it a try and learn this new thing. Okay. It is okay that I don't know this thing, but I will learn it and I will get there. That is growth mindset. Okay. Collaboration. You will work every day and randomly assign groups. You will work each week with buddies. And it's really important that you're able to communicate across different working styles, across different communication styles, and help one another and get along with all different types of people to create a safe, inclusive, welcoming, and successful learning environment for everybody. Curiosity. Ooh, that's a big one, y'all. I'm gonna push that. I'm gonna push it, poke it, prod it. That's a big one. Curiosity is the world of tech, right? It's constantly growing. It's huge. It is impossible, okay, for you to be able to learn every single thing in this program. And so we are putting the foundations under your belt in order for you to succeed in the tech career. We're building that curiosity so that you know how to go out and find the things that you need to. In order to succeed in any tech career, you just got to have that basic foundational curiosity of understanding that constant learning and change come with the role. And then finally, logic. We don't expect you to think like a computer, at least right now. With our help and lots of practice, the goal will be for you to come out of the program being able to structure your programs in a programmatic and logical way. Alrighty, so for our daily stand-up, we are aiming to be more like the workplace to make the transition into the industry much better. So instead of having an instructor telling you and guiding you exactly what to do at all times, which you won't have in the software industry, um, you are going to be given a general schedule of topics and assignments, and you, with your autonomous self, are going to be expected to figure out what to do on your own and in collaboration with others, such as participants, volunteers, mentors, tech groups, Techtonica staff. And so part of this program, we used to have our full-time curriculum, and one single curriculum week is now going to be spread across 2 weeks. I'll show you what I mean in a moment. However, as such, because this is now a part-time program, there is some variation to our stand-ups and our wrap-ups and our code challenges and our pair programming. Instead of it all being squished into one day, we're going to break that up across 2 days, one full curriculum day into 2 days. And so I'll show y'all what that looks like in a moment, but you will be expected to be online during those program hours doing anything like that code challenge, pair programming, demos, one-on-one, staff check-ins, mock interviews, asynchronous learning, synchronous learning, and pairing with others. So each day, there's a new participant that leads the charge, okay? Everybody gets to put on their leadership hat and lead the day, host the calls, And that's one of the many non-technical skills that you will be practicing. In the best jobs, there are regular check-ins with a very understanding manager and mentors provided for regular support on your team. However, that's not always the case. You will be getting that here at Techtonica. We want to show you what is best for you so that you can evolve what that continues to mean throughout your career. But we will be providing you those manager check-ins with myself and your mentors as you all arranged during part 2. We will also have group office hour mentor check-ins. But the program all in all is very hands-on, very project-based, and it's going to prepare you as best possible for working hands-on in the tech industry. And so you'll also be expected to speak and present just as you would in your incoming tech career roles in order to practice that muscle. The limited, not guaranteed placements we secure for part 2 of the program will also set this program apart compared to others. In part 1, just as a reminder, we'll have group mentoring office hours, and then in part 2, you'll also have group mentoring office hours, but then you'll also get the individual one-to-one component of mentorship. So I said a little bit about the daily schedule. Let's look at it. This is wonky, right? We see stand-ups and wrap-ups and pair programming, code challenges and guest sessions, some retrospections, and there's a lot going on. There will be new topics that will be covered every 2 weeks. That is the sum of it. Okay. So remember, I mentioned that each full-time curriculum week that you see, if you were to go to GitHub and look at our open source repo right now, you would see that our full-time curriculum weeks are broken down and they iterate each week. And so now we've broken that down into 2 weeks so that our part-time participants can refer to them as milestones. So as you are in the program, whenever you see a full-time curriculum week referred to as week 1, week 2, I will be referring to them as milestones, all right? And you'll have 2 weeks for them. These screenshots are just an example of a schedule. Each week is not guaranteed to follow this exact pattern, but it's by and large very similar, okay? This is one foundational week whereby we would be building one recipe page across 2 weeks while also learning other foundational topics in tandem across that 2-week sprint. After that 2-week sprint, you'd be moving on to new topics. Alrighty. Again, just as a reminder, you are expected to attend all your meetings from a computer unless you have some sort of accommodation for that specific meeting. And during the rest of your time, you are expected to be reachable during program hours. Of course, there's some flexibility for things that we can avoid, like family life responsibilities. However, please do your due diligence to honor your learning, okay? Please communicate if you are coming into this program about things that are important and things that are unavoidable. With that said, I will expect you to be online from 5 to 9 Pacific time. Okay, let's talk about our hotshot mentors, y'all, because they are amazing. Every single cohort. Our mentors are not instructors. They are industry guides. So they are an occasional technical resource that you meet with. First part of the program, they are there for the collective. They are there to help any and everyone during designated hours during the program to let you know, hey, I can help you with this, or I can answer this question, I can pair with you, I can point you in the right direction, or maybe you just want to talk shop about interviewing. Maybe you want to talk about what platforms to put your resume on. They can help you with those things. They are an added layer of support in your corner that is there to help encourage you in ways to think like a developer. Okay. We will tell you more all about your mentors and the mentorship and what that would look like from a perspective of group roles or the one-on-one experience later down the road. Alrighty. This program's success is up to who? You. Oh, I love that. We don't have traditional lectures at all whatsoever. I call them knowledge sharing sessions. I do that purposely because it is interactive. So I will not talk at you for 30, 45 minutes. I will invite you into the conversation, help me debug, ask you questions about things that we've gone over, or even challenge you to think about the things that are being presented for you. Okay. You will need to be able to motivate yourself, follow the rules, pair with one another, do your assignments honestly and to the best of your ability without guidance. Okay. Um, to that bullet, without guidance, especially with the age of AI, we have in our curriculum ways to teach you how to use AI ethically and appropriately for your learning. Okay. With that said, collaboration is key. Use the humans in the cohort with you. Use them. Oh, okay. Yes, use the humans. Emotional intelligence and curiosity, we have found are very, very, very strong correlation between those who do well in the program and those who are open with their feelings are able to communicate about what is going on emotionally and physically. So if you are able to have an open discussion, you're probably more likely to be successful because you're able to own your experience in the program. We have frank, very honest discussions. We welcome feedback. We welcome you to bring your opinions, but we also welcome outcomes, right? Um, there are a lot of things in this program that are going to put you out of your comfort zone. Okay, I'll tell you that I'm not even in the program anymore. I'm just leading it. I'm the resource here, and it beautifully so. Each cohort challenges themselves, the staff, mentors. Oh, it's just so amazing. And so learning to be comfortable with being uncomfortable is so crucial, y'all. It is so crucial. You're also going to hear me say that a lot in the program. Okay. So some things to consider. Things to consider. In order to be successful, in order to successfully complete either part of the program, part one, part two of this software engineering program, you have to be able to show technical and non-technical astuteness. So that also includes showing progress that you have communicated or gone past the indicators of success or indicators of needed improvement that you hear about in your one-on-ones, attending regularly as expected, collaborating, giving and receiving and implementing feedback to your peers and staff and from staff. Okay. Focusing, using your attention and engagement during meetings, keeping up with the curriculum, and sometimes even contributing to it. I will push y'all to throw up those PRs. We'll learn more about that in the program though. Weekly knowledge checks and technical questions. Yes, we're gonna evaluate. We're gonna assess how you're doing. Are you grasping the stuff? Okay. And it's perfectly okay if those assessments let us know, hey, you need to spend more time with the subject. It's perfectly okay. All right. In the part two software applications program, I want to highlight these considerations. You can be removed from that program at any time. Some things that determine your ability to stay in the program are above. We just went over them. Hey. And I will also say your agreements will go over that as well. There are potential financial consequences for quitting or being cut from part two program. And again, that's because there's the whole stipend and tuition. You'll want to make sure that you read your agreements. If you complete the entire part two program and we are unable to offer you a placement, there's no repayment required. Okay, so if you graduate successfully, you did all the stuff you were supposed to, cool beans. We'll just forget about that. Okay. You will successfully graduate either program if you have demonstrated that you learned your objectives and requirements for each assignment. So you have knowledge checks, weekly projects, code challenges, core skills, interviews. I will let you know during each one-on-one and even in written feedback how you're doing with those things. So you'll be told during each one-on-one, hey, you are on track for graduation, indicating that you demonstrated where we need you to be for non-technical and technical students. If there are ever any areas where you are not being where I want you to be for graduation, you will be told. You will also be given the written feedback, okay? Each of these assignments has a requirement and a prompt that will be evaluated on my end for my notes, and each individual task will come down to an evaluation of those requirements. Over the course of the program, meeting those requirements is going to indicate to us that you have developed non-technical and technical average, okay? We're going to collect data points on that information. And so that's where I'm going to be getting, hey, you're on track. Or, hey, we could do a little better here. Or, man, you're rocking it here. I would love for you to talk more about this during XYZ meeting. It is your responsibility to communicate with the program staff about your bandwidth. Okay? If you need further explanation or any additional support, it is so important. While part 2 participants will be able to rate any available placements that Techtonica shares and provide some input, they will not make the final decision about which hiring sponsor they will be placed with. That decision belongs to Techtonica, and participant ratings and performances from part 1 and part 2 program may be used to match participants to any available placements, if we have them. What this means is that when final projects are completed in part 2 portion of this program, if there are any available placements at non-interviewing sponsors, so if a sponsor's like, you handle it, I don't want to talk to these people, we're too busy. No, I'm just kidding. If they wave their hands up and they say, we trust you, then we will use your experience in the program to inform how you are going to be placed, how that correlates based on what you've also indicated is your preference. Okay. Alrighty. Some of y'all are like, oh, I heard tuition. I need to know more about that. So part 2 of the software engineering program has a tuition-based model that is needs-based sliding scale, subsidized tuition, and stipend scholarship. It's to enable the program to serve more participants in addition to continuing to seek sponsorships. Our full tuition for the Part 2 software applications is $14,000. When paid up front, it is $15,000 with 16 monthly payments of $2,500. So if you have the ability to pay up front, squeeze off a little thousand. Since Techtonica adopted tuition, 93% of our participants have been eligible for a needs-based sliding scale tuition and stipend scholarships. If you will not have $14,400 beyond 6 months of living costs, you are eligible to apply for a partial or full scholarship. If you will not be able to cover tuition or 6 months of living costs, you are eligible to apply for a tuition scholarship, as well as a monthly stipend. Only those determined to be in need of full scholarships will be considered for monthly stipends. The needs-based sliding scale subsidized tuition considers if an applicant has tuition beyond the months of living cost needs for the program and a few other months, so that the eligible applicants are able to apply for partial or full scholarship to assist with the subsidized tuition costs. Alrighty. There is a question on the long form that asks, did you want to apply for tuition and stipend scholarships? If that sounds like something you want to apply for, then please click yes. That will inform our discussions later towards the end of part 1. Web Dev Foundation. Stipends may be subject to tax withholding. As such, those receiving stipends are responsible for their own tax liability, which may include self-reporting on IRS Form 1040 and paying tax to the IRS. 1099 NEC tax form will be provided at the end of January of the year following the program, and in no way during the program is any participant employed by the organization or eligible for employee benefits such as health insurance, vacation, or sick pay, retirement plans, or unemployment insurance. Alrighty. If you still have burning questions about the tuition, feel free to reach out to Techtonica via email. I am going to move on to talking about our limited stipends. So our financial conversations will happen during the final 2 weeks of our Part 1 Web Devs Foundation program with any participants that have expressed interest in moving on to the Part 2 program. Not everybody will get a stipend, okay? Your financial conversations will help us to determine what everybody's needs are and what we are able to support. However, the stipend is not taken into consideration for program acceptance. So if you're thinking on it, you're like, just have the conversation. That is separate from how you are determined to get into the program. Okay. So if you need assistance, that has no weight on you getting it. All righty. Program placements. All right. You keep hearing me say if and maybe and all that jazz. Well, there's no guarantee whatsoever. However, all of our stipends and all of the program, everything that we do is funded by sponsor companies that agree to offer paid placements to our graduates. They are like, yes, we need to bridge this gap. We want to make sure that underrepresented people are coming in here and rocking and kicking butt. Okay, so they fund the program. Placements can be internships, apprenticeships, regular employment, etc. That is determined, and you will hear about it at a later time if, capital if, there are placements. Okay. Any placement starts within a month of graduation, usually, and pays at least $30 an hour. Historically, 75% of our placed graduates are converted to full-time employees or have extended contracts at the end of their 6-month placement. We're currently working on securing placements for the next cohort. There is no guarantee. I love how that's a bullet and I've already said it like 3 times. Placed participants in any of our programs at this time are committing to relocating for in-person location. Right now, we have candidly shared that we are targeting for our summer 2026 to look for in-person California locations, Los Angeles, San Diego, and the San Francisco Bay Area. But hey, if y'all know other sponsors and other places, connect them, you know? Please do. Okay. Application questions. Your references will be contacted during the pre-work period. We will send them a link to the Google form and we will email any references. Any email references will not be read after a certain period of time. So make sure you notify them. Let them know that you're applying and they may be contacted. Okay. You will be informed via email if you have not been accepted into either part of the program. You will also clearly be notified if you are accepted. So we will notify you. Yes, you're moving forward, or no, wait until next time. Sign up for pre-work study groups can be found on our Eventbrite page. That's techtonica.eventbrite.com. If your MIT income calculator does not account for the number of dependents you have, please see the difference in the amount from the second to last number of dependents to the last. Then add that much for each additional dependent. Please put this explanation in math you did in the portion of the application that asks for any additional details. That is important because it's on the long form. It is strongly recommended that you make a copy of your questions and answers, okay, in a doc before filling out the form. The form is very long, okay, the long form specifically. And every application process, we hear from a couple people who put all their sweat, work, tears, late nights into the computer, and then something happens with tech and it decides to do its own thing. It shuts down and they lose all the work. So please do the due diligence of putting it somewhere that it could be replicated if that occurs. Thank you, Michelle. Alrighty, some things to consider. Please don't be discouraged if you don't get into the program for the first time or even the second time. It's a very competitive program, okay? It's very competitive. Keep learning and apply again. Sometimes it takes 3 times, which is the max allowed to get into a very competitive program. All right, personalized support needs and communication. We sincerely want to help you. I can't stress this enough. Oh my goodness. If you have a special situation come up now during the program, during the application process, communicate with us. Tell us what's going on so that we can come up with solutions or let you know processes in place or how we can support you. We've had applicants and program participants lose housing, break laptops, become pregnant, face abuse, and so much more. Okay. Please, 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 please communicate. That is how you will own your process. All righty. I told you we were going to do a screenshot though. I told you, right? I'm going to stop sharing. I don't see everybody's cameras on. Come on, come on. Turn them on. Turn them on. Turn them on. I want to see those big, wild eyes of all these career changers who are going into tech. Okay. Who's gonna show off those smiles with me in a screenshot? All right, I'm gonna count to 3, y'all, and then I'm gonna hit the screenshot buttons on my computer. Ready? 1, 2. Who wants to do like cheer hands with me? Yeah, let's do cheer hands. 1, 2, 3. Woo! Okay, let's do a funny one. I always got to do the funny ones. If you're ever on.
Wait, was the cheer hands not the funny one, Daima?
No, it wasn't. We can do 3. We
Okay.
can do 3. Okay, who votes for the regular? Oh, no votes. Look at that. Boom. Funny one to go. All right, funny in 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, okay. I saw a couple y'all. Yeah. All right, all right. Okay, let's jump back into it. I said we were gonna do some screenshots. Oh, you know what? It's time for Q&A. What am I talking about? I'm gonna stop sharing again. Now, just as a reminder, if there is anything that is actually on the website, I will be redirecting you, or Michelle will be redirecting you to go do your due diligence. With that said, I have totally not been monitoring the chat. Thank you so much, Michelle. I see a hand up. Andrew, go for it.
I have so many questions. First one is I don't know if I fit the demographic of this, like this organization, what they want, because I'm a white heterosexual guy, and I don't know if they'll be like, yeah, we'll help you. The thing is, I am broke, I am low income, I am struggling, I have learning disabilities, I am underrepresented with the learning disabilities part. I am just flat out broke. I am not doing well. So like, I don't know if they'd be like, okay, yeah, you're not the typical candidate, but sure, we'll consider you. I don't know. Like the vibe I get is I can't tell. I know it's really like specific, but
Yeah, Andrew, I love that question. And I'm hearing that you don't fit the crashes. That's what I'm hearing.
But
However,
I'm struggling genuinely. I'm not like, oh yeah, I'm doing well. No.
however, I can speak to the ways that we can support you. One, please make sure that you email Techtonica so that maybe if you do need additional support ongoing, you can reach
Well,
out to
I got email back. They already denied me. Like I didn't even get anything. I got an email from them today. I was like, oh, like wait, what? I'm not.
Got it. I am going to speak to very specific steps that I want you to do, Andrew,
Yeah.
and anybody else on the call that this fits their jam for, please listen up. So when you reach out, let them know, hey, I don't fit your demographic, but I do want to connect with Daima. Boom, the end.
Okay.
That's gonna let me know specifically, oh, maybe we've talked on this call, and
Yeah.
I would even put that, yeah.
Okay. Because
Um,
it's just I
Daima
got
said to reach out to
concerned.
her to
Yeah.
connect,
I just got
so that we can talk
concerned
about.
about it. Okay. It's just I got concerned because I'm like, wait, I'm white and white heterosexual male. Oh no, they're not gonna want to deal with me. But it's like I've got learning disabilities, and my experience has been with learning disabilities. When it comes to work, you don't say anything. Yes, they can't legally discriminate you against you, but they can, and it happens. And it's more the group that doesn't get the representation because it's not based off of appearance, it's based off of how your brain works. So I would
Thank
make the
you
case
so
I'm
much, Andrew,
underrepresented.
for staying and listening.
Yeah.
I really want to make sure that we connect
Okay.
outside of this, so make sure
Yep.
that you do that follow up. I will also say our curriculum's open source. You
Okay.
said that you had some other questions. If they
Yes.
are not
I
individual
Yeah.
related
Oh no,
questions,
it's about AI, and I want to understand more about how exactly you guys prepare people to incorporate AI because I follow job trends. I shouldn't, but I try to understand the job market at least. And from what I gather, junior developers right now are, be it front end, back end, I guess cybersecurity. They're not developers, but whatever. They fall into the tech umbrella.
yeah,
They're kind of facing the challenge of breaking in because you have CEOs who will say, I can take AI and I'll let it, how to put it, it can't really replace it, software engineer, but because of bottom line and cost of running a company, a CEO will say, I will take the AI to do this. I will let it replace entry level positions in tech. So I'm just curious with that trend going on in tech, how does Techtonica prepare people, one, to use AI in a smart, efficient manner, but also how do you guys make it where what most of us, I assume, are breaking into are entry level positions? So how do we market ourselves to say, you don't need the AI? No, we're better than the AI. Forget that. No, it's hot garbage. We're great.
yep. I could literally talk about this for ages, so I'm gonna challenge myself to keep this sweet and short.
Yeah.
I've compiled a bunch of stuff, new shiny
Mm.
things into our
Yeah.
curriculum. So for you, especially, or anyone else that doesn't get into the program, just know that's in there. The same stuff that I'm going to be teaching everyone, or excuse me, knowledge sharing, to everyone every day during the program. It's there for you. You can follow along. You can send us
Okay.
questions. You can contribute to it. However, the sweet and short is we teach prompting, we teach you the ethics, we teach you what those
Mhm.
larger language models,
Yeah.
what types there are, what they're using, which AI to use for when, how to use it, how to use it in a way that
Mm.
does it, that sets you apart from those that are newer or not understanding those toolings, and then understanding when you should be using it. So if you're going through the program, should you be using AI to build your projects for you? Maybe not. Okay.
Yeah.
However, if you are unaware of what an error is doing and you research
Mhm.
for hours and maybe your
Mhm.
mentor's away and staff's on a call and you're like, man, I've been up for hours and I can't go the night without figuring out this error, AI might help you figure
Okay.
out where to go with that error. And so
Um,
that's all in the curriculum. Feel free
mhm.
to take a look.
Okay.
I would love to come back to your questions. I know you have
Yeah.
a few, but I do see some burning
Okay.
questions
Yeah. Okay.
on the call. Bella, am I saying your name correct?
Yes, you are. And how do you pronounce your name so I can say it correctly?
Daima. Naima, okay, thank you so much for this info session. And I do apologize for not having the camera on. I'm having some minor issue with the bandwidth, and I don't want you to risk being cut out. Um, but with that said, I've just a quick question. How many references are required for the application? I would just like to prepare ahead of time. You got to get those asks in, make sure people have time for that. And is it required for both part one and part two of the program?
It's two references in the long form, and it's just the one time.
Okay, perfect. And a second question, I was looking at your schedule, how you have the weeks structured, and there are some parts where you're like working by yourself. Is this like um I guess you would call it like body doubling? We're all on Zoom together, but we're all doing our things. I'm just asking because that has been like a great form of motivation for me, like the way I work, like if we're all working solo or are we just like just working by ourselves, not on Zoom.
Sometimes it will be together and sometimes it won't be.
Gotcha.
So by and large, your asynchronous blocks will be off camera. However, those that say, hey, they rally the cohort like, no, I want this to be a body doubling session. Sit on a body doubling call. It's your cohort. Um, Now there are mandatory office hours where it's not an optional session and maybe y'all don't have anything to work on. That becomes a body doubling session by default.
Gotcha. So it's kind of like you can make it what you want. You work together with your cohort and you may be able to find like a partner within the program and you guys work on it together, or is it, yeah, just trying to get more of a feel for the dynamics?
Got it. Yes, each week. I would have to look if it's each week or every 2 weeks. You're paired with a new person or a new group of people, so that does rotate as far as like who you're working with. And amongst your little group outside of the cohort, not the entire cohort, you can arrange to body double during asynchronous groups. You are not necessarily building your milestone projects together. However, at some point you will be asked to collaborate where you're contributing to each other's projects. So all of your assignments, all of your work should be your own. We will have hackathons where you are going to be doing more of that contributions, where you're working together a lot more frequently during like a sprint of 2 days. And so that will change that dynamic a little bit, but you are not building each other's projects. You are able to body double as much as you want, assuming you have a willing person to body double with you. And if you're like, hey, nobody's willing to body double, I guarantee you there will be volunteers, staff like myself. You will always have somebody. Okay. There will always be somebody.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And if I could just ask, I know there's no personal questions, but this is for you since you've been through the program. I would just love to hear like what your experience was like when you were going through the program and, just share some of that with us because we're all looking forward to this. And that's my final question. So thank you.
Sure. Um, I went through the program back in about 2019. I was going through homelessness. I had two kids under 5. It was crazy, y'all. But after interviewing a bunch, and I mean a bunch of boot camps, kind of figuring out if they were the right program for myself, Techtonica seemed to offer a lot more support by way of like removing barriers and offering just genuine human understanding and flexibility. Um, with that said, then I went into SurveyMonkey and did a lot for other nonprofits that are, doing similar missions. I really do have a great passion of making sure that people that identify within my own intersections are coming into the industry because I don't see a lot of that. And so I ended up coming back to Techtonica after volunteering in lots of different ways in a paid role. And now y'all get to see me every day as the person that helps you throughout the program. Thank you for that question. Before we take any other questions, I do want to remind y'all that I will not answer any individual questions here. I will defer you to the website or contacting us via email, okay? So if I give you like a boomerang, that's your cue. Alrighty, who else has questions? I see Shu.
And feel free to use those hand emojis, y'all.
I couldn't find it. I have one question regarding the second period of the training. So, during that part, will interview training or mock be provided?
Yes, everybody will get that during the entire program. So even if you're in part one, I will say that with part one, it starts a little bit later because there are some people who haven't done any coding whatsoever. And so just give you mock interviewing first week, you're like, I don't know what to do. How do I do this? So we give you a little ramp up time. But yes, you will get mock interviews and they will become incrementally more challenging. Yes, Riza, I love having our curriculum on GitHub too. You can contribute to it. Anyone else with the questions? Don't be shy, y'all. Or I'll call on Andrew again. I know Andrew had some questions.
Correct.
Go for it. Is it Luana?
Yes, Luana. I have a question about the laptops. I saw that it needs to be a MacBook. I don't use a MacBook, but I have one that is pretty old, so I would like to know like the requirements, how does it need to be? Because I have one, but it's old, very old.
Yeah, I would say the newer the better. My laptop is pretty old. I think it's like 2016. With that said, as machines get older, there's some lag and there's storage implications. And so, because you are doing software development, you want to consider your storage, you want to consider your ability to run your programming. Um, you're welcome to get set up on your laptop as is now. Feel free to even bug our contact to throw some one-on-one time with me if you want to kind of fill out what that's going to look like after you get set up. But I highly recommend if you are able to run things like Node, if you're able to go into running an application locally, if you know how to do that yet. If you're not aware of how to do that yet, I would say like put a lot of streaming applications on your computer at once, like 3 or 4, and see if they can run them on your Wi-Fi and on your machine. And that should help along with the storage considerations. But if you have specific questions about your machine, message us.
Okay, thank you so much.
I think I see something in the chat. I initially submitted interest in the full-time program, but received an email about a new part-time program. Is the full-time program still available to apply for? Oscar, we are not doing the full-time program right now because we are pausing that to run the part-time program. I hope that answers your question. Bella, am I saying that right?
Yes, it is I again. Camera on this time. So I have a question about part one of the program. Can you share what kind of skills we might walk away from? And maybe an example of how those would be used in a real project. We know part two is like more in depth, and I've seen some of the demos from past graduates of what they completed, which was awesome. But I'm trying to like benchmark. I've only had like a gauge of like what part two walking away looks like. I'm just very curious what you would learn by the end of part one.
Good questions. So the Web Dev Foundations part one is primarily exactly what it says. We're going to get you acclimated to the foundational exposure. So things like CSS, JavaScript. We get you all the way right up to the edge of Pern Stack, which is React. So you'll also learn Express, which is kind of the back end of like the what does the button do and where is it sending stuff if you have a button on the screen kind of thing. So you will be able to do like freelance consulting. I think where the differentiation between the programs is the your ability to iterate and a more deep understanding of the inner workings of the back end and the front end. The foundations is more front end heavy, but you are exposed to some back end. But again, you're just getting the foundations, HTML, CSS, some Node, some Express, right up until we get you to the framework, some exposure to React. And with React, like there's a lot of stuff happening with React. So you could even go bug people in your community and say, hey, I know how to do React. It's all the latest and greatest, and I can build you this application. So you should have a handle on the foundations. You would want to challenge yourself. Let's say you don't go into the part two. You would want to challenge yourself to have a deeper understanding of what Express is doing to the front end, and how can you build out databases a bit more robustly, and how can you use tools to accelerate your ability to build a database or leverage an API. I think working on APIs is actually the last week that you guys will do things. And that's basically pulling data from anywhere and getting it into your application. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, it did. I kind of just have a follow-up. So would you say like part one is like more so, I guess you might, like you said, you mentioned front end and back end. So you might be prepared to do front end stuff like custom development for like a Shopify theme or a WordPress theme, like that kind of stuff. And then part two would take you deeper into like actually building the back end structure of a platform.
I feel confident to say that you would be exposed to everything by the end of web dev. However, your own learning journey and your own understanding of how much time you're going to need for that full stack development is where the part two session would come in. So with part two, you've already pretty much gotten the learning under your belt, and you're primarily building. You're still learning along the way, but it's primarily building your portfolio, primarily learning more advanced concepts of the very things that you learned in foundation. So with that said, everybody learns differently. I can't say that you would be able to come out being a WordPress developer, but I feel confident that you would be able to navigate figuring that out.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I see Andrew's hand up ahead of Pat. Andrew, what you got for us? I'll take one of your hard hitters and then I'll move on to Pat.
Oh, okay. I was wondering, is there going to be is this going to touch on, front end, like website development, but what about also any app development by chance? Is it going to touch on that at a certain point?
Yeah, I'm assuming by what you mean by app development, you're talking about mobile development. Is that
Yes.
what you're asking?
Yeah, just curious on that.
Okay. We do talk about blah, 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 blah. We do talk about mobile responsiveness and responsiveness across different devices. We are
Oh,
teaching web development primarily in web foundations.
yeah.
So where you might go deeper with mobile development is in part two. And that's kind of reaching just slightly beyond the curriculum. There are some spots where we say, okay, here's this resource, go explore it. But in our knowledge sharing sessions, we don't have a dedicated knowledge share for mobile development.
Okay.
With that said, take a peek at the curriculum. There's some stuff there.
All right.
Pat.
Yeah, thank you so much. Great job, by the way. I just wanted to make sure I heard you correctly, that you are now charging tuition. Is that correct?
Correct.
And it's like 14,000.
Correct.
Is this at your website where it breaks down?
Correct.
Okay. And is it at the website too, what it's used for, like what it pays during the program?
Can you say more about that question? I'm not sure I understood that. Are you meaning like an itemized breakdown of where your funds are going? Is that what you're—
Yeah.
Got it.
Mhm.
Okay. It pays for your involvement in the program, and it also helps us to subsidize other people's ability to pay to get in the program, or living stipends. So it's an overarching subsidized program for everyone. if there's something on the website that is not answered or you didn't hear about it today, feel free to email us so that we can get more specific.
Okay, oh, thank you.
You're welcome. Didn't see any other questions in the chat. Pat, did you have a follow-up for us? Oh, just kidding.
No, I don't. Thank you.
Any other questions, y'all? This is your time with us, me and Michelle, so don't be shy.
I have a question. For I guess this year's cohort, the 2025 graduates, how many were placed in their, I guess, placements?
We had 5 placements for the last cohort.
And how many graduates?
Was it 11, Michelle? Ugh. I have to take a look.
Okay. And are they still looking for placements? Or are you guys still like working with them to find their placements?
Sorry, it was 10.
10.
Oh, okay. Sweet, sweet. That's awesome. And how many were in the cohort in total? I guess part 2.
So the past cohorts, we have not done a part-time program. We've only done a full-time program. So there's never been the introductory free program for everyone and then the normal kind of accelerated portion. It's always just been the accelerated portion. So we decided to break things up to make it a bit more accessible to let people kind of get their feet wet. Even though the curriculum is open source, it's there. Some people need a little bit more guidance and camaraderie. So now we're kind of breaking that up.
Sweet, sweet. That's awesome. And so from the 11 that was in the cohort, 5 were able to get placed. And you're still working, do you guys still work with the other graduates to get placements, or are they still like working on their own, trying to find placements for themselves?
That's a great question. Michelle confirmed that it was 10. I misspoke. So after graduation from each cohort, and that's the full-time cohort of the software engineering program, whether it's part-time or full-time. After graduation, for the 6 months following, whether you are placed or whether you're going into job search, each week you're meeting with your cohort. That is a part of your agreement, and we expect that of you. And that's just so that we can know how to support you. We can coach you if you're like, oh, my manager's not doing this, or man, I had this opportunity to demo, I'm not sure what to do. Just so we can support you. In addition to those weekly meetings, you have full access to me. Yo. You also get a full access to the Techtonica community. So that's even outside of your individual mentor that you meet with for 2 hours each week. You get access to other people in the community that are, they're cream of the crop, y'all. They are just amazing. So you also get access to them. You also get access to alum. You also have full access to your cohort. Come on now. Those are people
I'm
that
hearing.
understand the things that drive you and that make you tick. So if you're like, man, I really love game dev, or man, I really love health tech, they know those things about you. And so if one of them is going into placement or they get in on a role, they will probably try to connect with people that have similar interests. Outside of that weekly meeting, after that 6 months of weekly meeting, the 6 months following that, it turned into a 1 month once a month meeting. So about a year of baked in support, in addition to our consulting services that you can learn more about on our website, that is accessible to all of our grads if we have sponsors that are willing to give us the projects. And then, Michelle, am I missing anything?
I don't think so. I
Yes,
mean,
she
being
said it
part of the
all.
community is already a big, amazing thing because there are so many cool people who are just always ready to help.
Yeah. What I really
Sweet,
enjoy
sweet.
about our volunteers is a lot of them are career changers too, so they get it, y'all. They totally get it. I will also say I am in your corner as much as you will allow me to be. So, like, let's say we're having those weekly meetings after you graduate, and you're like, man, I'm job searching, and we give you all this stuff to help you job search, and you're just like not using it, then that is your job search.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I'm hearing that there's a lot of support. There's a lot of, community camaraderie. I'm sorry if I butchered the word, but no, that's very empowering. Thank you so much for answering my question.
Sure. Bella, I see your hand back up.
Are you tired of me yet? I have another
Oh,
question.
you and Andrew are asking the good questions.
All right. I am really curious about how your hackathon is it run? Is it something your team hosts on your own, or do you partner with other organizations for it?
Ooh, that's a great question. I'm actively looking at other organizations that are wanting to partner. However, for the program hackathons that are baked in right now for your learning, those would just be you guys. Maybe some grads might come in to support and be like technical volunteers. It would also be staff. But for your learning right now, that would be just Techtonica staff. With that said, if we do have any other hackathons outside of the programming, we may invite other volunteers in the community. We may invite people from other learning open source communities. So that's something to be aware of.
Good to know. Thank you. And just really curious about if you are able to share some past companies that some graduates have been placed with.
I would highly encourage you to look at that long list of logos on our website.
Oh, okay. So those are cosigns. Gotcha. I'll take a look again. Thank you.
You're welcome. Andrew, what's on your mind?
Well, I'm wondering once people get to the second stage, and of those like of the from the last group, so of the 10 of the 5 that eventually did find employment, I'm just curious what how to put it. What would you say makes a portfolio stand out? Just because uh, again, I keep track of job trends. There's a lot of software engineers in the market currently, I think. Like it's not flooded, but there's a lot of people vying for these positions. So, and there's a lot of experienced people vying for entry level now. So, oof.
Yeah. I'm gonna throw it your way again, Andrew, and everybody else on the call. Go peek at that curriculum because we totally go over this. But the succinct version of that is do something for yourself. Do something unique, right? Show that you understand and are curious about something. So, for example, when someone's preparing to showcase a portfolio piece to a hiring person or a recruiter, I'll look at it and I'll throw up a bunch of PRs or I'll sit on a call with them and I'll say, this feature is incomplete. Are there any comments about this incomplete feature? Are you showing how it's working? What is your level of mastery? Is that assumed? Is that shown in your README? Is that shown on your website? So you want to be able to kind of show very quickly how you differentiate. One, you're not just doing cookie cutter projects. So some of the projects that we teach you in the foundations, they're very similar to some of the starter projects. However, how have you expanded off of that recipe page, like in the screenshot? What makes your recipe page fantastic? Why is that recipe page different from everybody else's CSS, HTML, JavaScript page? So those are some of the things that you want to think about. And then if I know one of your questions was about artificial intelligence. Well, what is one thing that you can build that artificial intelligence just out of the box with that same cookie cutter is not able to do? What human touch can you offer? One of our mentors is so funny. They have this like a Mario image of themselves, like a gamified version of themselves on their portfolio, and that always stands out to me because you just don't really see that. So you got to really think about how are you setting yourself and distinguishing yourself while also
Mhm.
showing that you have these skills. And like I said, feel free to throw all of that into the contact message that you are totally going to send our way, Andrew, right?
Yeah. Huh. All right.
I think I see Taylor raising her hand.
Yeah, thank you. And I appreciate all the information and all the questions asked so far. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just curious, and I know like maybe this is a curriculum question, and I apologize if it is, but is it helpful at all? Well, maybe it's not a curriculum question, but is it helpful at all as we get through the program and as we get closer to the preparing for placement, or just in terms of just getting to the end? Is it helpful maybe to have a interest or a niche, like in terms of anything that would maybe be helpful for y'all when it comes to placement? Just curious, because I'm not sure if it's helpful, because I know I heard the question that Bella asked about some of the placements that people have are that people are at after the program, but I'm just curious if it's helpful when we do meet with y'all as mentees, if it's helpful to say what, like, I want to be kind of within this niche, or these are the type of projects I want to work on that help with placement.
I will answer that in 3 parts. The first part is for the sake of placement with Techtonica. No, it is not required. However, the second part to that answer is if and when you are in part 2 of the placement process in the software applications program, when you are rating potential sponsors placements, indicate that in the form that we give you. Seriously, if they give us a bunch of job descriptions and they're like, this is the game dev team and you're going to work on this package, and the other teams are like, this is the DevOps team and you're building tooling for all the people that work on our tools or something, and the other one's like, this is testing and quality assurance. If you're like, oh, I know I want to be on game development because I've been doing this my whole life and that's all I do in my spare time, like, please tell us that. I'm sure we would learn that about you throughout the program because it's a lot of time together. But if that's helpful for the sake of Techtonica placements, give it to us when we're during that time in the form that you'll be given to let us know that information. My third answer is, and I didn't even get that portion from Bella's question, so thank you for catching that, Taylor. Um, if you are just wanting to understand like what's going on with our sponsors or our placements or even our past sponsors, if you're wanting to reach out to them, yeah, communicate to staff or grads or volunteers like what your interests are. Totally do that. Totally. That's how you network too. And I think this answers, I forget who asked it, but someone asked about job search. Like when you're networking, tell people all the things you're interested in and how your technical skills connect to that. So, for the sake of being able to go into placement with Techtonica, if you're eligible for them, if we have them, no, that's not a requirement. Is it helpful information? Sure, it could be.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Ooh, y'all going off in the chat. Thank you, Michelle. Andrew, you got another one for us.
Well, that made me think about the idea of when it comes to once you've gotten through the second portion of this, I'm curious from the employer's perspective, from what you guys have seen, are they are they looking are they looking for the niche? Or are they looking for somebody who is more of a generalist? Like when it comes to that final stage and think about how do I stand out? Is it about, oh, this unique thing that makes me me? Or is it about, oh, the general scope and breadth that you can show in the portfolio? Just because, again, how I guess with software engineering, it's so broad, and I don't know if there's like a set mold, so to speak. You can be more back end, more front end, or you do a little bit of everything.
Yeah. I love that, and it looks like it ties to Riza's question in the chat too. Our sponsor page talks more about like what we are looking for in our partners and our sponsors, and so they come to us and they're like, "Look, we want to help people get into the industry. How can we help them build their foundational understanding and their competency in software engineering? And so they understand that coming out of part two of the program, you would be about associate level, junior engineer, depending on how much you own your experience. We've had people come out of the program beyond that. That's neither here nor there. But to answer your question, short and sweet, no, they are not looking for a niche specifically. However, they do know the stack that we train on. Some placement roles have like learned or I cannot talk. Some placement roles have worked in Java specifically or Python specifically, and that's not in the stack we teach, right? And so that's why we give a little bit of window between when you do go into placement, if you do. And then also those that graduate are part two, you'll be opened up to the rest of the Techtonica community. And so you'll be given access to other resources that will help you learn those things. And in addition to like Slack communities where you can see what other people have tried or talk to them or try to get some pairing. Not all of our mentors, volunteers are working exclusively in our stack. Do they have competency in our stack? Do they know the fundamentals of how to work and navigate through that stack? Yes. But they also code in other things too.
Okay, so are you saying that in terms of the stack, it was built with collaboration and feedback from the sponsors, essentially? Is that fair to say that
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 has
kind
been a part of the Techtonica evolution.
okay. Okay, so I'll say it's fair to say it's vetted in a sense.
I'm sorry,
It,
I didn't hear you.
it's vetted in a sense, or it it falls in line with what the market wants from the junior software engineers.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, we're teaching you languages and technologies that are relevant. So I
Okay.
think when I went through the program, we were learning some Bootstrap and MongoDB and like different technology and the curriculum, as I mentioned, it's open source, it's evolving. And now we're moved over to more like PostgreSQL, SQL. We do still teach some Bootstrap to expose you, but we also encourage you seek out other third um, frameworks of CSS during that portion of learning. So it evolves, the curriculum evolves with it, and our partners give us feedback. But by and large, the Pern stack is right now where they are wanting people to be. But going back to the initial question as far as niche, um, no, we're not requiring that, and our sponsors aren't requiring that.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. What other questions? There's a few of y'all on here that have been great listeners. Sandra.
Hello. Also as a side note, if there's more Sanders in the room, then I'm a Sandy. So side note.
Good to know.
Um, which I don't think there are over here. So we're going to the hackathons. Because I've heard about the placements for career, but if there are hackathons, I'm guessing are they all online during the course too, or is it also in person?
Online. The entire
Online. Okay.
course is online. And our hackathons, it's not the full 24 hours for the 2 days. It's more like 9 to 5 for these 2 days in a row. Because you
Yeah. Got it, yeah, because I've been to some hackathons that are like at a campus or like near like at a plaza where everyone brings their laptops. But oh, okay, if it's online, then we're already on our computers, so that's already easy. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
welcome. Everybody feeling confident about their applications? Is that the silence I'm hearing? Yeah. I've gotten real good at staring into the souls of a virtual room to peer out the questions. Yes, Adrian.
Um, what have been like some common hiccups cohort participants have had to face like throughout the program in your experience?
I could probably talk about that for a long time too. I guess for me, I have a question to throw back at you, and then I can answer that. From the perspective of staff or from the perspective of a participant?
Perspective of staff, like what do they see like maybe that needs common improvement in a certain area or something like that?
Communication! Please talk to us. If it's not me, talk to Michelle, talk to the anonymous feedback form, talk to your mentor who can then anonymize it and tell us. Please tell us, okay? If you're like, man, I have these pickups from daycare exactly at 4:45 and I'm gonna be late to this meeting. Or, man, I learned this way and I'm just really not getting this. Or I need those body doublings at this time during those async hours. Or um, I really don't understand the feedback that I got that was written and I'm just going to keep it to myself because I know they expect this of me. Like, y'all, communication, please. Also, I will say the pre-work is designated to help you ease into our format. So I believe it's just 2 hours. Yeah, 6 to 8, 3 times a week. While it is so easy to say, oh, they just have a 2 session requirement. Cool. I just show up to 2. If you can do more than that, do that for yourself because it will help you get into the acclimated normalcy of being on a computer for long hours, sitting, knowing when to stretch, knowing when to take a break. If you're not used to that, if you're not doing like a remote role, or you haven't done like online learning or anything like that. Um, it will also get you connected with your future participants, or your cohort mates. So that's also something. Get to connect with people. But yeah, for me and where I am as your manager in the program, I can't say enough. I've had time and time again people who tell me during the full-time program, which is 18 weeks, like week 13, oh, I've been working the whole time or something. During that program, it's harder to work. Or I just lost my home and I'm still trying to do this program, but we didn't know about it. There could have been some adjustments, or we could have had a discussion of how we could support. Um, so just please let us know how I can support you so that you're not struggling by yourself. That's really important.
Thanks, Damien.
You're welcome. Andrew.
So I was wondering, are there any industry certifications that are built in indirectly, potentially, while we go through the cohort? I know some boot camps do that. They'll be like, oh yeah, you can get, well, there's like, I think industries for JavaScript, for
We don't
Python.
offer
No.
formal certifications through this program, besides the California OJT certification. I'm
Mhm.
blanking on the acronyms there, but it is on the website. Um, what I will say to that, however, is after you've graduated the full program, both parts 1 and 2, you will be given some additional resources that could then give you access to certification.
Oh, okay. All right. I have one other question actually. I'm curious, the weekly sessions, are they recorded or every time or no?
Yes, All of the sessions.
Okay.
Each
Okay,
of the
so
sessions is recorded and they are accessible to all of the participants that
oh,
are in that
wonderful.
cohort.
Okay, perfect then.
I will say for your because we've talked about it at the top of the Q&A, you wouldn't have access to those recordings that are cohort specific. However, if we post something on YouTube, you can totally look at it.
Oh, okay.
Y'all asking some great questions. What else he got? Yes, Andrew.
Sorry that I keep asking questions. I'm sure it's annoying, but
No.
I'm wondering, like, what is the overall state of the software engineering market? I don't know if that's. I'm just curious from like Techtonica's perspective.
That is a very vague question.
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to think of a better way to word it.
I'm not even sure that this is the forum to discuss that. If I'm thinking of where that's going,
Yeah.
just because that's a super long discussion.
Mm,
But
okay.
that particular question was quite vague, though.
I'll. Shoot. I'm trying to get a better way to
Heck
narrow
is
it down.
like this. Sometimes there's a loop-de-loop.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's like a sit out, and then there's another loop-de-loop, and
Huh.
it goes up and down.
So sporadic,
I wouldn't.
kind of.
It's just a ride.
Okay.
Is what I'm
Hmm.
saying.
All right.
I
Hmm.
see Oscar in the chat. I do have one or two more questions, but they are personal. Where do I reach out to ask after? Info@techtonica.org. And that is also on the website. There's a little contact form, I think. Thank you, Michelle.
Also, to add on to to give a very, very quick general answer to the question of what is the market like for software engineers? Um, that's part of why we're doing a part-time program, because we recognize that it has been tricky the last few years, not just because we've seen other people struggle, but because we ourselves have had to figure out new solutions because we can't just rely on hiring partners anymore. So yeah, we devised this program to allow participants to continue to work during the day so that the financial risk of quitting a job to take on a full-time program is not an issue in case someone at the end of the program can't find a job. So yeah, it's tricky right now. However, I have been in tech long enough to know that it's a cycle. And we're at the low part of the cycle right now. And
Yep.
it's going to come back, and people will be excited about diversity and supporting junior engineers again. Um, it's just not as much right now.
Thank you for clarifying that question a little bit and speaking to the loop-de-loops. Any other thoughts? Any other questions as it pertains to this part-time program? If we did not catch any questions in the chat, feel free to throw it back down. I know we're scheduled till 7, so I'm fully prepared to hang out and answer those questions. But if you're like, oh, I got all I need, you're welcome to pop off. I'm all ears. Go for it, Andrew.
So you said earlier in the presentation something about like kind of replicating but the experience of what it would be like working in an actual company in terms of like, oh, well, you'll be given a task, but you won't be given you'll be given like an outline of what you're gonna expect to do for that day's work. But I don't know, could you elaborate more on like what's that like?
Yeah,
'Cause,
are you meaning from the perspective of being in the industry and like how Techtonica prepares you for that work?
yes. Yeah,
Got
because
it.
that's kind of unique. I did one coding boot camp, but it wasn't very well organized. So like I'm curious what just to get that experience. They didn't really replicate that aspect. So
Gotcha. Okay. So, what the first part of the program will prepare you for is how to learn, as a developer. And so that is just slightly different variation from how to take the information and like the ticket or the issue
mhm.
requirements and then do the thing. So I'll speak to that first and then how that second portion is replicated in software engineering part two. So we teach you how to learn. We give you kind of guiding resources. And those resources, I would say they slowly taper off by way of expectations of autonomy. So for example, if you've never heard of what CSS or HTML is, the
Mhm.
first week we're gonna give you a little bit more as you dive into that during the pre-work, during our first few weeks, because we want to make sure that you feel comfortable with those foundations. However, let's say fourth weekend, um, you should be acclimated. It's expected, just like when you're onboarding onto a role, right? They
Mhm.
expect you to know where the tooling is about 3 months in, about 2 months in, because you've been playing with it for about a month. So we do make sure that you understand how to learn. We make sure that you understand where to find the information. Most of that is from our curriculum. If it's coming outside of the curriculum, we usually link that in the curriculum. And then we very clearly set those expectations of the requirements of what you need to learn and why. So usually in the open source, um, for example, if you're looking at a topic online, it'll say like, why is this relevant for the real world application? That's telling you exactly what you need to be using that thing that you're learning for. Um, Okay, so the first web dev foundation is primarily learning and figuring out how to think like a developer. You're developing that problem solving strategy. You're developing that ability to interview and how to do the tech interview. Because I'm gonna tell you, I have had two kids. I got two giant dogs. I've been through homelessness. The tech interview it's a whole beast in and of itself, y'all.
Mhm.
So we teach you how to get through that, how to understand, how to articulate those things. And then during the second part of the program, you learn how to apply those things. So that more speaks to, okay, you've learned all the things, you know where to go, you know how to think, you know how to articulate that. How do you apply it? And sometimes under pressure, sometimes with really quick demands, sometimes with multiple issues at once that you're juggling, multiple projects. And so the second portion will teach you more in line with like if you're on a team and they say, okay, build this button. Um, well, okay, just build the button is possibly not enough information. In web dev, you might not even know on the first part of the program what questions to ask. During the second portion of the project, you're gonna know, okay, where are my style guidelines? What technology am I going to be using? What should this button be doing? And where is that information going? Is it collecting data? You're going to know very specific information by the time you get to the second portion of the program, comparative to the first.
Okay, so kind of like the first portion is like the framework. It's like the base,
Yep, foundations.
then from there you can just build off and I don't know, you just use your logic and infer, okay, well maybe if I do this it'll work. You play around. I guess then during tech interviews, how common is it to where you're just as you're going through an interview, like they may ask you a question where it's deliberately there to trip you up, where it's like, oh, we're not trying to see if you actually know exactly how to solve it, just that they want to test, oh, this is how you think. Like just the logic side of things. It may not be perfect. Your code may not be 100% perfect. They're not asking for that. They're just saying, how do you solve a problem? How common is that in a tech interview versus,
Interview is exactly how do you solve a problem.
okay.
I won't speak to how many employers are trying to intentionally trip you up.
Mm.
Um, I can't speak to that. And sometimes I'm sure that happens even outside of the tech interview. However, the tech interview is showcasing how
Mhm.
you problem solve because that's
Okay.
what you're doing in the work
Yeah.
all day long, problem solving.
Huh. Okay. So then is software engineering more about the problem solving? It's not about being 100% certain that what your approach is perfectly right. It's more about the experimentation and playing around and then, you know, looking at other people's work, saying, okay, they tried that, maybe it'll work in my code and refining it and, continuously just repeating that whole cycle.
Yep, that's definitely a part of it.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's definitely a part of it. Um, we do talk a lot about this in the curriculum. I'm gonna keep pointing that way. But I will say it's also recognizing that things change, things aren't always the same. So you could, for that button question, maybe your friend in working on the same ticket, intentionally given to both of you, ask different questions. Because they want to approach it different. So you could get to the same solution using different path, and that's also understanding how to think programmatically.
Hmm. All right, so a lot of flexibility, I guess, then. Okay.
Ooh, Adrian, that question. Okay, Adrian has asked in the chat, how many hours of outside learning studying should you be expected outside of parts 1 and 2 cohort hours? Yes, I will triple Michelle's response that we do discourage you to limit it to make sure that you are, taking care of yourself. You cannot do this work if you are not taking care of yourself. If taking care of yourself, you can't. Your brain is like your brain and your body are the tool. They are the tool as a software developer. You're sitting, or maybe even standing if you got a fancy standing desk. You're sitting, you're using your physical self to type on a computer, and being in that like position all day, that's physical. So you got to remember to, honor your body and take breaks. But the mental, oh my goodness, the difference between somebody who codes the button and figures out how to answer those questions and implement them on the first ticket example I gave, on that person, sleep, they only have 4 hours of sleep. Maybe they spend more time problem solving because their brain isn't running as smoothly as maybe someone who may have had 6 to 8 to 13, whatever their full night's hours of sleep is. They may come to the resolution a little different. And as you are learning, you want to be able to honor your ability to soak in the information and let it sit and let your subconscious do its thing. So uh, please, please don't do all-nighters. Oh my goodness. Y'all will hear from me during the program, y'all, about that. I will scream at you till you are deaf. Take care of yourself. You have to take care of yourself. So, as far as the expected hours, I actually cut down because this is a part-time program. We shaved down some of the day-to-day programming so that you could have more time to do that learning during the program. So hopefully that helps. Thank you, Michelle. I'm being silly, y'all. I'm not like a tyrant on the keyboard. No, but I will say please take care of yourself over and over. So I'm blue in the face. That was a good question. Yes, Andrew, excuse me.
So this is a question about not the program, but like it's the a specific aspect about the software engineering field? Just because I'm curious from like your experience. Is there a lot of crunch time in software engineering? I know in development there is. I don't know in software engineering, is that a common thing?
My developer brain immediately is saying, define crunch time.
Okay, like last minute change, and then it's like, oh, okay, I'm working till 3 a.m.
That depends on the org.
Huh.
That is kind of out of scope for the program itself, but I encourage you to learn about the different industries, the different
Mhm.
company sizes. You could even ask for like coffee chats to different people and
Huh.
different organizations to figure out what their experience has been. This has been so great, y'all. Thank you for all those hard hitters and spending time with us. I am going to wrap up for the evening. Y'all know where to connect with us via email if you have any extra questions. I highly encourage you, if you need to connect with me and you reach out to our organization, give context. Don't just say, I want to talk to Daima. Give context. Because the person on the other end of that email might be able to answer your question or give you the resources that you need. Alrighty, y'all have a great night. Thanks for joining.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.